Hey everybody, welcome back to The Boy and the Beard, episode number 10.
Number 10. Oh,
10
double
already.
digits, baby.
That's it.
Hey.
So we took off about 2 weeks, I think Easter, and then last week was just a chill week. We got some new studio equipment in.
Yeah, we had a lot of personal life stuff happening.
Yeah.
Moving.
So for those that are watching on YouTube, you can see we've got a new orange shag carpet. We changed up the background a little bit with took the green screen away from over to behind Tony, put it behind us. Brought in some decor. We did a little rearranging at the house, so all this stuff that you see here was in our back room. So it's now part of the Boy and the Beard
yeah,
podcast.
looks solid. It's
Yeah.
a nice vibe. Got what is that, the Price is Right vintage board game down
Yeah. I think like from 1975 or something like that.
We were in the Restore, the Habitat for Humanity Restore, and we saw a 1985 Pictionary.
Oh.
First edition.
Oh wow.
The back, it was tore up. It was really, really messed up, but
Yeah.
it said the new board game that plays like charades but with drawings, and it had like their board, and it was hilarious.
That would have been nice to see what the topics were and how that's changed and how out of date some of that stuff is.
I'd just like to be a fly on the wall for like the first person who busted out Monopoly when it was only like 1 to 2 years into that game existing, and he sat some people down and they were like, "What are we playing? Gin Rummy?" And there he's like, "Nah, watch this." And he pulls out a tiny little metal car
Yeah.
and a bunch of fake money,
Who were the naysayers on that
Yeah,
conversation?
I mean, it probably blew people's minds when they stepped out of just playing jacks.
Yeah.
What are you doing, breaking sticks for fun? He's like, "No, I'm
kicking a
playing
can?
Phase 10, bro." Yeah.
Like Lords of Dunshire,
Yeah.
which
Cones of Dunshire.
Cones of Dunshire. Yeah.
I saw a picture that was of a board game table made
Yeah.
specifically for board games, and it said,
Oh, yeah.
with this board game table, never not have enough room for board game night. And someone said, "Not for Cones of Dunshire. It doesn't look like there's enough room on there."
I've seen a couple 3D games like Clue, where it's a three-dimensional board and it's a glass cover top, and then inside you kind of got the actual bed. And,
Oh,
you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, some like custom,
Yes.
super fancy ones. There's really cool Catan boards.
Yes.
And one slight little tangent too is a lot of the board game video games on like Xbox these days are really well put together, really solid. Especially Uno with the unlimited deck, you never have to shuffle,
Oh,
no
nice.
card management. It's actually really solid. And then you edit rules. No one can break rules because the game automatically does card transfers. This
Oh,
and
wow.
that. You can stack +4s on each other.
Holy cow.
We need to do a Uno tournament.
So I was
going
going
to
to ask you, so what's your best, so when we have game night, so for those that don't know, Tony is my nephew, and Monday nights are dedicated to kind of game night over at our house. So either Tony cooks or my wife cooks. What's your favorite game that we've been playing lately?
Lately, well, okay, I love Secret Hitler. That game's really fun.
Great
I like
game.
the social, man, there's a name for the genre, but the social kind of, there's a similar game called Werewolf Alexis talks about.
Right.
And apparently it's like identical, but just a different theme and like slightly different gameplay.
Yeah.
That game's super fun. The only thing that sucks is you need people who can understand it, people who are actually like good at lying, and also enough people in general at all.
So, no, you just hit on something real quick, just to understand it. We had some family over the Easter break from California. Tony's mom was there, my sister-in-law.
So my other aunt.
Yeah, and we played Secret Hitler, and,
It's a really simple game if you explained it plainly. Like
Right.
if you said there's a red team and a blue team,
Correct.
and the objective is to play as many blue tiles versus red tiles, and there's
Just
two
to kind of
secret red
symbolize
people
it,
and the
yeah.
blue people.
Once you start using fascists and
Then they start thinking there's really politics happening, and there's actual knowledge you need.
Yeah.
But in a base level, it could be stripped down to such bare bones. There could be a tile with 1 dot and 2 dots on it, and you put it down, and someone said, "Did that have 1 dot
Yeah.
or 2 dots?"
Yeah.
And you'd go,
I don't know.
two dots. It didn't have to be liberal and fascist.
Yeah.
That's all just theme.
Catan is great as well. We haven't played that.
Catan is super fun. We should play tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
We
We're
haven't
coming over
played.
tomorrow night. I'll have to bring the wood one. That one's really nice. Got that for Alexis. We played the crap out of that when Corona started because we did it. We looked up, just Googled a 2-player setup, and you remove a certain amount of the roads, a certain amount of each card, so there's not
Right.
too many knights, so it kind of fixes it proportionally. And we ended up, I think it's called home brewing when you add like your own rules to games,
okay.
where we did it so much we kind of figured in our own rules.
Right.
And something else I did too is I just got little pieces of cardboard for the city walls, because in that one expansion you pay 2 brick, and then you have that wall where you can hold 2 more cards before
Right.
you get stolen from by the thief. And I was like, I'm not gonna buy a $50 expansion. I could just do that. All I
Right.
need is a little colored square, and then we could just pay 2 bricks. So
Right.
it ended up being a really fun.
Nice.
Yeah. So board games are Are they underrated, or are they just?
I think it
are
depends
they
on who
still
you are.
rated?
No, I think they are rated.
They're still
It's
pretty mainstream.
just and I mean, there are groups and there are cliques and people get together, and I just think if it's not in your world, then it's not in your world. You have to physically put it in your world, just like anything else.
It's a great tactile feeling playing an actual, a real game and not a virtual game.
No, it is. There's a lot of dynamics that go with it, and the emotional experience, and
I kind of miss
reading.
I miss also just like the base board games though. Like I wish I could have a really nice, aesthetically updated regular Monopoly or something like that. But now there's a like Yeti in my spaghetti or stuff. It seems like you need to have like an astrophysics degree.
It takes you 5 gameplays just to understand
Every
it.
game is like a mousetrap level of setup.
Yeah.
But just to play a regular game,
for
not
sure.
even for a Rube Goldberg machine.
Right.
But we've hit that level unironically, where it's not like, 40-minute setup and it's all a joke because it ends real quickly. Nope, just a regular old 40-minute setup. Like when we play, what's that one? What's the one with the different civilizations? 7 Wonders.
7 Wonders.
It's not even that complicated of a game, and it's really fun. It's really fast.
It's
only like
super
30
fast.
minutes.
I love it.
But the amount of clutter
Yeah.
on that table when we play. I mean, you got the whole pile of coins, the other distinction of coins, all the different military victories. There's ones, threes, fives, minus ones, 7 different categories where we all have individual piles of cards and 3 different. It's horrible.
Yeah,
it's so much
fun game. I love
It
playing it. Once you and again, it's taken me probably 2 or 3. I have to get back into because we don't play it so often.
If we have a gap, you
Yes.
have to kind of relearn it because you forget real quick,
Yeah.
and then you can kind of pick it back up a little faster each time.
Yeah.
I need to look into it because that seems like there has to be some kind of like placemat, right?
You would
With,
think
like,
so.
a
Someone would
little-
allocate
Yeah,
those little
so everyone's
places.
space looks the same.
If
And
there's not one, then maybe it's something that
we create patent pen and become billionaire. No.
Watch out, Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, look out.
No, but because you can get blank board games or blank boards. Because we did one for a client, and she had designed a Monopoly board that was custom to them, and I printed it, shipped it to them in California, wherever, and they just apply it.
It's so easy to make prototypes of that stuff. Because if we really wanted to do one with like just like my imagination is just a super distinct outline of a card, and that's just designating where your files go, and it just has like text in there. You get a piece of cardboard and a ruler and bust that out.
Yeah.
Boom. Prototype.
My OCD would have to get pretty crazy on that. I mean, cause
I feel like you could get there pretty easily though if you use say like a piece of foam, just like presentation foam, and then you rounded the corners off to be your actual mat, and you did it really clean with a black Sharpie or even a paint pen.
Yeah.
Like you could still do a clean one. Real easy and
It's not a bad idea.
Yeah, let's go make a couple $100K.
Yeah.
And then call it good after that. Then we'll talk about how good of an idea it is.
Speaking of that, so we get DoorDash a lot, or not a lot, but occasionally we'll get DoorDash and some other. We don't have Uber Eats and some of those other ones. We have DoorDash and To Go Dish, which is a local one. Yeah, and where we live, it's even more limited who will visit for us, but. We have a sliding or a swing open glass door, and 9 times out of 10, that delivery driver is going to place the food right in front of that door on the welcome mat. So what happens when you go to open the door?
You clack the food.
Right, exactly. So I haven't sold any yet, but I just put up on our Etsy store a mat that adheres to the concrete and the brick and the asphalt that has
like a box?
No, but it's a sticker, so it's a 12 by 12.
Mm-hmm. Is there a box on it?
Yeah. So
okay.
The sticker itself is a box, but within that it says food placement mat, or I'm not sure the verbiage that I used, but for that, and I've got it.
It's something that's like yay big, and you just
set it right down there, and then if it can work for deliveries, food deliveries, it can work for UPS.
I'm really surprised that having a designated package delivery slot, accessory wise, is not something that is a thing in the 21st century.
Like a physical, like an overhead bin kind of example.
Something where you in the age of Amazon, right? We're still in a booming mail industry, except it's packages instead of just regular like letters. So everyone has mailboxes. Why do people not have like package bins? That's just standard. You see it and you're like, oh wow, you got the burlap on there, Rebecca, on your package mailbox, like. That just
now, where
does
that sit on the porch, or is that adjacent to or next to the?
I'm sure there has to be some rich person who built their own house that was like, I'm carving out a little area for my package.
Almost like the Blockbuster day of movie returns, but a big bin like that. You put it in there, shut the door, and it locks it in secured. Yeah,
that'd be sick. Right. They pull out a giant door and the whole and then your Amazon just spills into your living room.
Yeah,
you're just sitting there.
I'm sure there. Obviously there's that in the mail industry itself, but from a personal standpoint. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I'm just surprised there's no, with how prolific package thievery is.
Huge.
And the biggest solution now, as it sits where we are, is Ring doorbells, which we both have, and like a lot of people have.
Yeah.
But some people don't care.
But even then, I mean, that's only going to stop. So if you're home and you get that and you see that, yes, and that's great. But what's going to happen? I mean,
and a lot of these people come through with the mindset of like, so what? You can't just identify me instantly based on a picture.
Right.
They don't know who I am, or they don't really understand the view.
Yeah.
And you see, have you seen the compilations of people trying to duck underneath it? Oh my gosh.
Excuse me.
There's one of a girl trying to sneak out. And she's like, I don't know, 17. She might have even been an adult.
Trying to sneak out of the house.
Living with strict parents. So there's some of like thieves trying to sneak under it, and they don't do a great job. But there's this one of this girl, I think she just posted it to Twitter, and she said like, how did I forget I have a Ring camera? And it was like a 30-second video where she walks out, and it's like 2 a.m., and she like, kind of looks around, and she looks at the Ring, and you see her just go. And then she half-assed tries to duck under it, and the viewpoint's all the way to the floor. So you just see her like, scuffle by.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious. And our positioning for our Ring, because we live in an apartment complex and we have like a special door mount, it goes off so much. I mean,
I bet.
I got like 10 notifications every hour.
Yeah. Ours is a little bit too high where we get traffic that rolls by and it goes off.
Have you seen the custom zone where the movement zone? You can edge it out where it's not in the road or something like that. Like I saw last time I opened it, they were like, oh, does it go off too much? Customize your zone. And it showed me my overlay and my zone. Even if I just put it directly in front of my door, it's in front of the stairwell that everyone on the upper 2 floors passes. So, so it would do nothing.
Yeah.
I could make my motion zone a pinhole going straight, and it would still go off 500 times.
Oh, yeah, because it's more like a laser beam, and then every time it gets activated.
The girl across the hall found out she has like 7 kids the hard way because I have about 40 hours of video footage of them just going doo, 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 and like walking around every day, bling, 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 bling. They're all just walking back and forth.
Did you ever get your peephole fixed?
Mm-mm.
No.
No, we put in the maintenance order for it yesterday, but it's a hole in our door. Literally a hole the size of a nickel, just bored straight through. Yeah, I told somebody, and they were like, "Oh, it's just missing the glass or something." I'm like, "Nope, there's no inlay.
Nothing,
it's just straight wood in a hole."
Yeah.
And our TV is like 5 feet away from that door.
Oh yeah.
So we're sitting there watching The Walking Dead, and people in the hallway probably just hear, "Carl, get down, Rick!" Like, they might as well come in and sit on the couch and watch it with us because there's a hole in our door.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
And then just so many random problems. No cold water. It's like you think it'd be the opposite, right? I turn on the sink and I'm like, "Oh, the water's not getting hot." Nope, it's only hot, only scalding hot.
Yeah.
I ran into this issue yesterday. I was trying to wash potatoes, and it felt like my hand skin was burning.
Is it scalding or scalding?
Honestly, I think I switch how I say it.
I say scalding hot.
I think I'll hit it with a scalding. I feel like I kind of talk like a northerner.
So
if
when
I'm
you came
saying,
over,
if I was like, it was absolutely scalding, but I feel like if it was in the middle of a regular sentence, I would say like scalding hot. Like he burned it. If I was reading a book, he burned his hand in scalding hot water. But in real life, I'd be like, that was scalding. Like
I've never announced it that way. Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like I switched with pecan and pecan. There's like 4 ways to say it. Because you can emphasize the first and last half, and then, the whole pecan versus pecan.
Right.
And I don't know. I feel like I say pecan pie, and sometimes I say like, oh, what is that, a pecan? Is that a pecan? I feel like I say it differently every time.
So, yeah, I could easily say pecan pie, but is that as almost like in a singular sense, pecan?
So you'd say like a handful of pecans, but a pecan pie?
Yeah, a handful of pecan. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't. It's not in my vocabulary because it's not part of my. I don't like them, so I don't eat them. So therefore, it's not something that I say on a reg.
I bake enough, and I've made enough sweets that I've probably said it more than the average person, and I guarantee you I've probably said it different every single time.
Yeah.
Never said it the same way twice in a row probably in my life. So every time people ask, I'm just like,
I don't know. Pecan. You just always make that tomato joke and then walk away.
Yeah. I don't know. I want to meet someone who unironically even says tomato. That's a terrible phrase. It should be a, pecan, pecan. Who cares?
Yeah.
Not tomato. I know, but
I mean, unless you're British.
Unless you're British, yeah. But then, for them, if you were British, completely British, but you said tomato, like how we say tomato, but everything else is like regularly British.
That's I was just saying one laboratory. That's the only word that we say that's odd.
Yeah, they'd be like, Reginald.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Why do you say it like that? You sound like someone named Frankie.
Yeah. So we started watching King Kong and Godzilla Easter weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Got interrupted so we had to nix that. And
Yeah. We got pretty far. We got 30.
30, 40 minutes in. You finished it last night?
I finished it last night, and what I will say is I paid attention, and I absorbed it all, and I just sat and watched it, but I was also really tired. So, kind of zoned out during a lot of the human stuff. Like, whenever the monsters are fighting, I love it.
Yeah,
I love every second of it. Even the parts of it I don't love, I love. It's like pizza. Even the because only like 20 minutes of a 2-hour movie is monsters fighting.
Right.
So if I'm like, oh, that was a slightly weak scene choreography wise, I'm still riding a high just because the well is so dry.
Right, for sure.
But I know I'm gonna have to rewatch it because Alexis wants to finish it, and I'm gonna finish it. I'm gonna watch it with her.
She went to bed?
Yeah, I was actually laying in bed, and I was like, oh crap, I completely forgot to watch Godzilla vs. Kong. So I went out at like 8, knowing I had to pick her up. And I was like, I was gonna stay up a couple hours.
Right.
So I'm pretty tired today, but it was worth it because I was really hyped to see it. But like I said earlier, it's one of those things where the hype, like I enjoyed the build-up to the movie more than I enjoyed the film itself. Do you know what I'm saying?
Say that again. Let me let that sink in. Say that again.
I enjoyed the build-up to the release. Like that first day I saw the trailer drop, and I was like, Godzilla versus King Kong.
Okay,
like
to the release. I got it.
Like the first time you heard Batman versus Superman is a real thing if you're a comic book fan, and I'm a kaiju movie fan. Like I like big monsters.
Yeah.
I like Pacific Rim. The old Godzilla is King Kong. And then like watching that trailer where it shows all the good stuff, all the punches and the big lasers. So I was like, oh, this is gonna be sick. But I said when we had conversations leading up to it that I knew it was gonna be. I knew exactly what it was gonna be.
They were gonna kind of spoiler alert that they were gonna kind of join forces. And did you know it was gonna be
Mechagodzilla? Yes, I did, because in the background. So I know the lore. This is like everything. I'm just in on everything. Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, you name it. So the guy who controlled Mechagodzilla, this is all going to be spoiler heavy. The guy who controlled Mechagodzilla is the son of one of the main characters of the 2014 original hard reboot of this current Godzilla.
Well, the one where Godzilla saves them from their from
not
and all those.
King of the Monsters, not the 2019 one.
Got it.
The 2014 one. That was the first hard reboot, hard reset, the first modern day Godzilla movie with Bryan Cranston, Millie Bobby Brown.
I didn't watch that one.
Yeah, so in that there's a character, and he's just like an older Japanese guy. He's a pretty mainstream actor. I don't know his name. And his whole thing is like, oh, we just don't mess with him. Like don't mess with Godzilla, don't do things you shouldn't do, and he won't attack you. But of course, the government doesn't listen. It's the classic. They don't listen to the scientists thing. The guy who controls Mechagodzilla in this movie is his son.
Got it.
So where his dad had nothing but respect for Godzilla, his son had nothing but disrespect. He wanted to replace him with the robot Godzilla because he was like, we can control it.
So this is the guy that's sitting in the big skull and has his
the guy who puts
puts
thing on his head and controls Godzilla, the Mechagodzilla. And in the trailer, when he's saying something, there's like a 3-second shot, and on the back panel, there's very, very clearly a Mechagodzilla diagram.
Got it.
And Mechagodzilla's existed since 1960.
No, for sure. Yeah, so he's been around.
Yeah, so the whole time I was kind of waiting for that Mechagodzilla reveal, and then it showed it a little bit with the podcast guy whenever that attack happened at the facility, and he was like, I saw some technology I wasn't supposed to see, and it was some, the skull or something. I don't remember exactly what it was. So I was waiting for Mechagodzilla to get powered on. I thought it was kind of dumb that it was controlled by a person. I was like, no, that's not it, because he's supposed to just be like, evil robot. What do you mean?
Exactly right.
But then, he kind of, he gained a little bit of sentience because they did that whole telepathy, all this baloney.
Yeah.
All I want to say is this movie was 2 hours long?
Roughly, yep.
This should have been 1 hour and 45 minutes of two monsters just duking it out, and 15 minutes of occasional shots of people going, oh my god, I'm about to get crushed to death, and running, and military people going, we're giving them all we got, but the missiles are doing nothing, Corporal. And then the president going like, report, talk to me. That's all you need. I don't need a little girl being like, you need to leave a 12% gratuity when you eat at a restaurant because that's good etiquette, because in some states the minimum wage isn't high enough. And King Kong's like, really? So how do you feel about mail-in rebates on Home Depot by-the-gallon paint?
Are you getting your warranty extended too?
Yeah, exactly. They're just, I don't care. You don't need a human with a connection. It was an hour and a half of human stuff and 30 minutes of...
So, and I think, so we're going to play devil's advocate a little bit. So I hear you on that. I, too, really enjoyed the film in the sense. So where we've come and visually with effects and all that, it was just phenomenal. And the amount of detail that was paid to by the visual effects team is ridiculous.
The amount of man hours.
So when Kong or Godzilla is hitting this building and then the neon is flickering on that building, and then the neon is still flickering 20 feet back on this other, but whatever that was, and then the amount of shattering of glass. So I appreciate that. The sound was phenomenal.
Sound design was great.
Was excellent. So, but here's where I'm going.
Go ahead.
So as with my age, 48, 49 in October, you're 21, I appreciated a little bit more the human aspect of it. And I think that it's hard for them from a filmmaker, storyteller to hit.
You're thinking about the screenwriter.
Right. So for me, I did appreciate a little bit of it.
So I have thoughts on that, as everything. Is you can have a fantastic Godzilla movie with human elements. You can have an hour and 30 minutes of human stuff, but make it good and original. This is the same thing that is in having a little kid, have a connection with some type of threat and be the only one who has that little bit of a gateway and an understanding is the most done to death thing. And I realize that's ironic considering this is the 27th feature-length Godzilla film ever made. But
has Godzilla ever had a human connection with anybody, or is it really, I mean...
No, not Godzilla per se. There's moments in the 2014 one where they give him a glimmer where like his eye comes up and he looks at a human who's all scared, and then he doesn't just smash him out of like hateful rage, he'll like walk away. So it's like he kind of has a sense of he doesn't hate individual people, kind of stuff like that. But with Kong, and all the Skull Island and this whole cinematic universe, I think it's been going since 2004. They've been real hard on the human connection stuff. They're like, wait, oh my god, I hate it so much because it's always done so poorly.
What did you think about the Middle Earth and how that looked? And
the Hollow Earth gave me...
What's Middle Earth from? Lord of the Rings?
Middle Earth is Lord of the Rings. Okay. That's like the generic term for anything kind of Lord of the Rings style is Middle Earth.
Got it. So
the Hollow Earth thing, I don't know. It was whatever. It was fine. It was fine. If you want to have an origin and you want to have like a reasoning for it, it was whatever. I appreciate the whole idea of it having a change in gravity. I really like the sequence of them kind of going through that wormhole
that was
thing to get there.
Yeah.
I'm not angry at the way it was handled. It got another monster fight when Kong went in there and had to kill those bug things.
That was pretty cool.
That was cool. That was solid. I was fiending at the chops for some monster fighting at that point because before that, you know what it was? 20 minutes of sign language of this girl. Your family might be down that tube.
Oh,
King
when
Kong.
They drop him off.
Go find your family.
So what I know. So he was on the battleship or on the barge, and let's shut everything down, and just like button, everything stops completely 100%. There's no freaking way that's gonna happen.
He hits on the radio, shut everything down. Everything that makes noise, shut it down. And 15 seconds later, you're telling me a 5,000 man crew of like a whole battalion of ships.
Yeah.
And then Godzilla, he's looking. You know what kills me about that too? Him and King Kong make eye contact.
Oh yeah.
There's two distinct shots of Kong. He sees him and he like snarls. He's all, I'm gonna kick your ass later when we meet in the second act. And then Godzilla looks at him and it has a really sick looking close up. When he was coming out of that burning water, dude. And he was kind of in silhouette, and whenever they do the close-ups of the skin, and it probably took him like a month just to render that shot, and it was a dead-on, straight looking at the camera shot of Godzilla just being like, looking like Jack Nicholson in The Shining. Yeah. And then he was like, nope, I won. I bested him, and just like rolled away. And I was like, you could see he's alive laying there.
Yeah, exactly. And then so for me, then I started thinking about the technicalities of them getting King Kong on the rope or in the net, and all the helicopters coming simultaneously picking him up. And then they're all flying in sequence.
When they dropped him off, I was like, no. Yeah. You know how many refuelings they would have to go through to get to Antarctica from the middle of the ocean?
Yeah. So logistically, a lot of those things play in my mind, and I hate that, and I have to look through that or past it.
Because someone sits down and they write a screenplay, and they have predetermined points.
Right.
That's how this happens. It wasn't something that was... And also...
No, it's how do they get from this
I wanted to touch on this earlier. Is probably 20 people probably wrote this film. You have movies where there's one writer, two writers, two brothers, husband and a wife, two friends. And then you have movies where there's like 5 writers, and that's usually when you start getting into like, there's not a lot of good character arcs, there's a lot of plot inconsistencies, the tone will randomly shift. Of course. And then you have movies like this where it's really, not to say it's there was no passion or nobody who made it had any drive or passion, but it's really a a machine-made film. There was predetermined parts. It was guaranteed box office success.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It was very much cookie cutter, and I guarantee you probably 30 people wrote it, worked on writing it, edited it.
How many
wrote
rewrites
lines,
and whatever.
So they sat down and they were like, okay, we need to have a fight in the ocean because that's Godzilla's area.
Yeah.
We need to have a fight in the jungle because that's King Kong's area. And then we rounded up with the city fight where they unite against a common enemy.
And they kind of bring back when they're in Hong Kong, and it feels like the old.
The choreography in the actual fights, this is what I wanted to talk about, was solid. This is what I'm saying. It was good.
Yeah.
Like, it was good. There was creative shots and actual cool things happening with the fights. It wasn't just a big punch that starts to lose
no,
impact.
for sure, right.
Like, there were a couple cool uppercuts and whatnot, but I think of when he was underneath, when the boat completely capsized and was upside down, and he was, like, standing upside down under the ocean. I was just like, that's pretty cool. Like, that's a genuinely good concept. I imagine there were probably a lot of really good storyboards.
Oh, there had to have been. Yeah, for sure. I would love to have seen.
Artists. It's not like it's impossible to make a good version of a pre-existing property, right? If you think about all the resources on the planet, there's definitely a group of people with enough passion, talent, but also practical business sense for like a return on investment for investors. We got perfect levels of visual effects. You could craft the perfect Godzilla film. We have all the technology on Earth. Everybody from opposite ends of the planet can connect in a millisecond. If
there was ever a time to do that,
the blink of an eye, right? Am I going to have to wait till 2030 or something when these real reboots start rolling out where they just make a standard inset? You know how there's been 4 different Spider-Man universes in 20 years.
Aggravating.
So every reboot that comes out feels like it has to be even more different to the original source material. And newsflash, 90% of people like the original source material
for sure.
For anything.
Right.
They like the first 3 seasons of a show. They like the first of the 5 sequels of the films. Not many people like the alternate universes of Superman and Batman where this and that happens. It kills me.
And I agree with that 100%. So that real quick before we get into, we watched a movie last night that was pretty mind screwy with you. Mm-hmm. But I'd asked you earlier if you'd seen the movie King Arthur. Mm-hmm. Legend of the Sword, or how it came up to the under small title.
Yeah.
So originally it's supposed to be a 6-series movie or 6
movie series.
Holy
moly!
First one underperformed. They canceled all the other ones.
Oh yeah,
But it underperformed. They spent $1 million in marketing afterwards. They had a $175 million budget. It did like 140, 130 at the box office.
Ooh.
Came out at the same time Snatch came out. That's relevance in the year.
Yeah.
17, 19, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So that's your assignment, let's say, for our next podcast.
Watch that movie.
Watch King Arthur.
It's crazy because 6 movies is a lot.
Huge to be writing on. So, and how is that from an actor standpoint? Okay, I've got this 6-movie deal.
You've come to grips with the fact that you're about to spend like 10 years on a project, and it gets completely canned.
I think the next one was going to be Merlin. But for me...
that would have been sick.
You just need to watch it. I'm not going to give you any spoilers. I'm not going to give you anything. Don't even watch the trailer.
I need to watch it.
Just go into it watching it.
I like going into stuff blind.
So the movie we watched last night was called The Lodge. And it's with the young actor that was in It. Young girl that we started watching as a Netflix.
Not Millie Bobby Brown? It's Millie Bobby Brown? Or no?
Show me what he looks like real quick.
No, It. I wasn't thinking
I'm thinking, so this kid.
The redhead girl?
No, this is a young gentleman. He's black hair. Reminds me of. He's the main character in it. Actually.
Is it not the freckly kid?
No.
Finn? Is it Finn? Finn Wolfhard?
I don't know.
There's only so many kids in it. Like all of them.
So him and his sister. Starts out the movie. They're going to their dad's house, and the kid's like, "Oh, is she gonna be there?" Okay, let you know that stepdad or dad with a stepmother figure involved. No, she's not. So they get there. Walks in, the dad's like, here's some money, go get some candy, your mom and I need to speak. So he gets in there and offers her coffee. She has coffee. She's kind of upbeat, and shot to the window, see somebody walking away. So obviously the new love life, she was there. So he goes, I think we need to finalize the divorce.
Okay, so it's kind of dropping these.
Yep. So as soon as she goes, okay, I got to go, leaves. Next shot, this is within first 10 minutes of the film. She's at home. sitting at the table, drinking a glass of wine, takes a necklace off, pulls a gun out, shoots herself in the head. Literally. I mean,
That's insane.
Fantastic.
So like in the first act of the first act.
Oh, it was. Yeah. So where's this going to go?
Yeah.
So, and then it cuts to obviously the daughter crying, and there's some other, they have a dollhouse that starts out. There's a lot of small B-roll of the dollhouse in there.
So much of this is sounding familiar from the name to the dollhouse, but we're not hooked up on the internet for me to look it up.
Then they go, okay, so the dad, and again, one of these situations that is unbelievable that I would ever do. So as a father, he's, let's go for Christmas to the lodge.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, and then, no, I don't want to go. Yes, it'd be great for you and I can't remember her name, to bond a little bit. And I'm going to leave for a couple days, and I'm going to come back on Christmas. So I'm going to leave you here at this lodge, this house, rather not.
With the girlfriend?
With the girlfriend. And she's relatively young. The kids did a little bit of research, and at one point,
so it's like the classic, But
so here's a twist. The kid was like, "Is she the one from your book?" Mom was right. She's the one from your book. So it shows them looking her up, and she was in a cult. The only person that lived or survived during a cult
was her. So that's kind of probably some sort of midpoint twist where she's a little more connected.
We don't know. Right.
She's not some random person. It's a little bit more intertwined.
Yeah. So we don't know how and we still don't learn how he met her. So anyway, they get to the house, and there's a couple scenes where the dad's still there. She almost falls through the ice. The daughter's obsessed with these little dolls for the dollhouse, and one is her mother that resembles her mother. And the dad's like, "No, I don't think I should go to the city." And he says that, and at the end of the movie, I'm gonna jump ahead a little bit. It's 6 hours away.
The city?
Yes.
So it's like
he's not up the road, 1.5 hours, 2 hours away. He's literally in the middle of nowhere.
Well, what'd he go
with
for?
a lodge? He works in the city, so he had some work to do. But anyway,
don't even tell me he came in. I just got a phone call.
No, there was some. I tried to reach you for the last day and a half. I didn't hear anything. I'll be there in 6 hours. So they are having this. So it starts out. The kids are obviously standoffish. Mom just died. This lady's in here.
Yeah.
He told him they're going to get married.
Yeah.
So of course, and then it ends up the kids. They're sleeping. It's cold. He pulls out a furnace, a gas furnace. Is it safe to have this furnace? Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. The little boy says.
Oh gosh.
So they wake up the next day, and all the decorations have been removed. All their clothes have been removed. She has some medication that she takes. Everything's gone.
It's just like plain.
Literally, yeah, like nothing's around. Everybody's clothes is missing. Everything is literally washed out. So he starts putting it in the lady's head. He's like, "Well, what if we are dead? What if we're in purgatory?" Knowing that she was very religious, throws that on her. And Kelly and I are like, "Well, maybe it is," because he mentioned something. He kind of drops a hint. I had a bad dream. I didn't want to say this in front of Ellie, but I had a dream that the furnace was smoking and we were all suffocating. So putting that in the back of her head. And then the dog gets out. They think the dog, obviously she let the door open. The little girl let the door open so the dog could leave. The lady goes out going crazy. I'm a walk. No cell phone service. No
so she's like deteriorating mentally.
Correct. The kid, and comes out. It was literally a joke that shows the boy and the girl going into the closet and grabbing their jackets. Come on, let's go inside. We were just joking. It's all a joke. You're not in purgatory. We're still alive. And by that time, she'd already been off her meds a couple days.
Oh, that's
day
crazy.
and a half, 2 days maybe. And so she starts kind of, even the kid went as far as faking a hanging. So they go upstairs. He hangs himself. The girl screams. The babysitter or the stepmother comes up, and he's all hanging there. And he goes, "Look, see, I can't die." So the lady was given a gun.
Psychopath.
It was. So come to find out,
Yeah.
the dad comes back. I couldn't get a hold of anybody. The kids are terrified of the woman now. The dad comes up the stairs. The girl has a gun in her hand. We can't die. We're in purgatory. Boom. Puts one in her head, but the chamber's empty. So she had already let off a round somewhere else. So she pulls it to him, kills the dad in front of the kids. Then it cuts to her sitting at the table with the kids, singing some religious song. Puts a tape over her mouth that says sinner or sin.
Oh, so it's getting into like that.
Then it cuts away.
Yeah, so they tormented her and broke her mentally, and then went, consequences.
Yep.
Like, I feel like I'm that guy who's watching the movie, like, Screw those kids.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, for sure. I mean, it was really. I mean, it's.
How old are these kids? Are they like 12, 13? Like old enough to realize that you shouldn't
14.
mentally
Yeah,
torment
for sure. At least the older brother.
a mentally ill person.
Yeah, not knowing what her medicine. At least leave her medicine.
So they took her medicine.
They took her
That's
medicine
what
and everything was
okay.
hit. Yeah, so that's why.
So
she
I
went
didn't
off
know
the
if it
rails.
was like they got there. You find out that she's kind of creepy, so she's like, I'm not taking my meds anymore, because you have a lot of that.
Yeah,
movie
for sure.
where you
No,
find out,
and-
like when Patrick Stewart and Logan was secretly,
right. And now let me tell you, this is on a personal level. I understand that my mother, before she passed away,
refused to take her
would
medicine.
stop taking her medicine, and it completely changed her from a person. Completely, it is ridiculous to how the chemical imbalance in you for people are, and if it's off, the medication.
Oh, so much of how there's a lot of your personality that's neurons and it's physical and it is what it is. But there's so much of, at least day to day, who you are and long term. That's chemicals.
Right.
They could be
For sure.
changed in hours, a matter of hours, and manipulated.
Yes, one thing could happen to you that's going to change everything about you and who you are as a person.
Or if you're just unlucky enough to have a slight imbalance in a certain chemical, you can basically be in a living hell your entire life because you just never feel like solid. There are people that they feel completely separated. They are depressed their entire life. That'd be horrible. For what? Just because your brain doesn't make enough of one type of specific juice?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Like, why does that happen? Just don't do that, brain. Just make the right amount.
Just do what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, stuff like that always confuses me. Yeah.
So if you get an opportunity to watch, it's called The Lodge. It's on Netflix, maybe?
That's what I mean. There's too many streaming services now.
There are.
You're always like, what is it? Is it Peacock, HBO Max? Is it the Paramount Plus, Netflix, Hulu?
Yeah.
What is there? There's like 20 more. I didn't even. Stars TV.
There's an endless supply of entertainment that it's like, what are you watching now? I don't know. Let's see.
Yeah, you need. I mean, people used to be like, oh, why pay 120 for cable when I could just pay $20 for a couple streaming services? And now it's like, okay, why do anything if I have to pay $15 for 10 different services?
Yeah, for sure.
You have to spend 10 minutes doing research to figure out where to watch anything. I hate it.
We were having issues. So we got the Disney Plus package, which comes with ESPN Plus through Verizon. So you're already adding a third party to the mix. Can't get the ESPN Plus to work. I wanted to watch some Formula One or some soccer that's playing in Europe. We could not get it to work, and everything that we had read was go through here, but still couldn't get it. It's adding too many
imperfect technology. Yeah. There's too much going on. It's just like classic boomer griping, but just even all the all the calls you have to make just in life. You have to call for anything, make an appointment here, do this, do that, the bank, the phone company. So many automated systems, and the worst ones are the ones where it tells you to say stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm fine sitting through a menu and pressing 2 to talk to this, and you just say miscellaneous like 3 times, and then eventually it just routes you to a person. But some of them, it's like, state your business, and I'm like, auto loan, and it's like, I didn't get that. And I'm just like, I have no idea. I don't know what keyword
Was that because there were too many people complaining about having to press a button that somebody came up with the automated system?
The one where you speak to it?
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I mean, that's just like phone call suppression. That's just to make old grumpy people get upset and hang up.
That's big audio talking.
Yeah, exactly. That's big customer service people being like, we can cut the amount of phone calls down by 17% if you ask them to say it instead of press the button.
Yeah. Is it a speed up process? What was the reason behind that?
It's horrible. It almost never works.
So DMX passed away.
Yeah.
And for me, you've been around me long enough now, almost a year. That DMX was kind of in my playlist for a while, even obviously before he passed away. And I know I've mentioned it a couple times.
We've listened to DMX regularly this entire year that we've worked together.
Now I was listening to some other albums. He's got some crap
stuff. How many albums does he have? He's like anybody else. Not everything's gold.
No, his first couple ones were just ridiculous.
And he made a lot of music on crack.
Yeah. But I think, I don't know if he had Swiss Beats every time, but there was 06 or 07 I was listening to when I was working out yesterday or whatever. I mean, this is garbage. It's not the DMX
it's
that
like
I like. It's
not his good era.
Yeah, his best of stuff is what's really hitting. So it was just really sad to hear about him passing away, especially at age, because I'm 40. I'll be 49 this year, and he's 50. Black Rob just passed away. Black Rob sings "Whoa."
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. What's the thing about DMX passing was it should have been expected, because for like 3 days he was in a vegetative state, Like a vegetative state is almost brain death.
Yeah.
That's basically reports saying he's dead.
Yeah.
But with a heartbeat. But then when it comes out that he's actually dead,
the realization
it still catches you off guard because there's that party that's like, nah, like,
DMX is gonna make it. Yeah,
he's not regular.
He went by the moniker DMX, Earl Simmons. DMX, Darkman X is what he said it was later, but originally it was named after a drum machine that he used in a boys' club in a boys' home. DMX was the brand of that, and so that's where his name came from.
That's cool. He has some bangers. He has a lot of really mainstream songs.
Yeah, for sure. Like you had mentioned this morning.
He has a couple of those songs that are like for the average person, even if they couldn't name it, who it was, they would at least be able to identify that they've heard it and they would recognize it. Especially
there was a TikTok boomer edition. Mm-hmm. She's in there, older white lady. DMX passed, and you only think, who is that? But then she sang the chorus. You're like, oh, I know who that is. That's DMX. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So
like what I tried to do with Alexis, and it didn't work. Well, she knew X gonna give it to you. I'll give her that.
But not up in here.
Yeah, no, not. I think I went through like 4 or 5, and none of them rung a bell.
Yeah.
His voice is amazing. It's so unique.
His phonetic, whenever his cadence was, and even Ari Spears, that was on Mad TV, does a fantastic. And I think I even showed you the episode where DMX was on there and Ari Spears played DMX. And it's like his mother.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, I remember. The thing about, I was thinking about this the other day when I was just kind of listening to a couple of his songs, and then we listened to him, It's so interesting what can help you be successful, because he has such a good voice and such a good flow, and it's the way he says things. It's not particularly what he says. Not to say he doesn't have great lyrics, but he doesn't have very many like double entendres and triple entendres. He's like, I'll walk over to you and punch you in the face with my fist, and I'll make you hurt and bleed. Like he's very literal, I feel like, when he raps, And then there's other people that say stuff where they're, I don't even know. They'll be like a lanyard on the floor, I keep it low key, where you have to watch it and think about it and be like, oh my gosh. And they said like 7 things in one line, and it's like you're writing poetry and just putting it on a beat. Yeah, not sure. DMX, no. He's just like, I'm angry and I'm screaming and there's a beat in the background.
And he would have some stuff where he's talking to the devil or he's talking to God. And
that's his characters, like him conversating with other people that he's also playing.
Yeah, for sure.
That's his most unique brand, besides it's kind of more straightforward raps like X Gonna Give It To You and stuff like that. It's not so much inner turmoil. That's the classic, just like, I'm a badass. Sorry guys, like here's a song about me being a badass.
There was a clip with Irv Gotti, and it was like, we were listening to this, and he went in the studio and hit this, and he's like, what do you think? It was all right. It wasn't. He got hyped up, pissed him off, and went back in there. And that's what y'all think this is a game? You think this is a fucking game?
That's cool.
And that got him hyped up. He said that was.
So that was an ad lib.
It was,
or was that a written line? And
no, that wasn't. No, that was ad libbed.
More passion.
Yeah, that was ad libbed. Because you can get on YouTube and watch, and there's a couple of him in the studio, and he's literally reading off of his sheet and stuff. But that particular one,
ad-libbing is an art form. There are so many recognizable ad-libs that get sampled throughout. The amount of non-music things that get sampled that are just ad-libs or somebody talking. Slick Rick, for example. Him, anything. Here's an oldie but a goodie, all that type of stuff. Yeah. That gets sampled a ton, and it's just a guy saying some words. It's not even singing or beats or anything.
Right, for sure.
And Kendrick Lamar, my favorite artist of all time, he hasn't released an album since 2017, and it's 2021. So it's starting to feel like, give me something here. I'm dying of thirst over here. But he freaking ad-libs on everybody's music. Every rapper in the game, he's in the background like, saying some stuff. He's all screaming about money and doing this and that. Yeah. He's in a new feature like every month. Wow. I'm like, you need to get back in your own studio and finish this album, which it's supposed to be like industrial rap. His last one was jazz rap, and that won him a Pulitzer Award.
You had mentioned that, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Macklemore
took a Grammy from him.
Did he really?
In 2013. He took the Grammy for Thrift Shop as the best hip-hop over Kendrick's Good Kid, Mad City, which was like, it had like 10 songs on the top 100 Billboard chart, like half the album. That's Poetic Justice, the classic Pull Up, Drink, Sit Down. That whole album was just everywhere. Yeah. And then Macklemore comes in with this saxophone. Oh, thanks for the Grammy. Kendrick won a Pulitzer,
that's
dude.
Stressful.
That's like Beethoven. That's a Beethoven type of word.
Yeah, with
To Pimp a Butterfly.
Justin Timberlake. I am not afraid. At 49 years old, I like Justin Timberlake and I like Justin Bieber.
Justin Timberlake, both the Justins, their vocals are immaculate.
Fantastic. I watched the making of Justified, maybe a 10-minute thing with him and Pharrell when he flew to Virginia. Never really met those guys. So Chad and Pharrell are in there. And seeing that process, I've always been amazed at how that works. And even when we had Mahogany and Andre, and
Oh,
what
just like
comes
the
first,
musical process?
the lyrics or is it the beat, whatever? And then they'd had a couple beats, and then you see Pharrell in the back. They're both in the studio. I'm just amazed at how that whole system is done and works.
I love learning stories, kind of untold stories behind stuff like that. I can't remember who it was right now, but there was a group where when they had kind of some success and they lost their way, they all recouped and went and stayed on like an island in some hotel for like 7 days and jammed out nonstop, working like 20 hours a day making music together and like caught the original spark back, stuff like that. Really cool stuff about the music making process. Yeah. Even for I say small artists, but an artist, and it's so different, the process, because like Elton John, he just sat down and played the piano once and he was like, composed, that's my song, record it, release it on like one play. Like he didn't pre-write, he just played.
The amount of talent that so many people have is just fantastic to me. And then stuff that even reading music and learning to read music and just trying to do that, and these people just sit down and they write things, and just it's amazing to me. Even on TikTok, you jump on TikTok and there's so many artists, so many talented people. It doesn't matter what they're doing.
Whether it's
there's some
like
stupid
a drum
people
or
too.
Yeah, just doing like meme stuff.
Yeah, but there are so many talented people in this world, and the world is so much bigger than where you live and what you have.
And you have access to a lot more of the world now.
Oh yeah, for sure, easily.
Some now it's weird to think about, but you'll wake up, you'll be drinking your morning coffee, eating some breakfast, and it's just regular to see like some guy in India making 500 scrambled eggs for his whole village. And you're just like watching that. Like you wouldn't see some cool random thing.
No.
Some guy like karate chopping a cinder block and it got it's busting out on Twitter and you just sit there and watch it. That's not getting directly beamed into your brain even 10 years ago.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So the amount of info and exposure everything has is just
ludicrous. I mean, because I lived in here with the encyclopedia and having the people come and having those on the bookshelf and dealing with that, and then gradually getting into going to the library for the computer and having to use that, and then having it to your house.
Really weird. You got to think about the amount of growth in the period that I went to school, because I started going to school in probably 2006, kindergarten, preschool. No, not even, because I was 9 years old in 6th grade. So I started going to school pretty early. My mom didn't hold me back that year. I was younger than everybody else.
Right.
And going in, there was one computer in the back of the class, and it's just a big old regular.
Yeah, CRT monitor.
There's not really it wasn't for internet. It was like for reading tests,
WordPress.
pre-installed
WordPress.
learning programs, and like typing and stuff like that. And then you fast forward a few years, and internet's more accessible, but they're untrustworthy of it. All through middle school, that's like 2009. They're like no internet at all. All your sources have to be encyclopedia or from like peer-reviewed sources. You don't trust it. Don't Google that. Don't look up anything.
Right.
And then you get
don't ask Jeeves.
By the time I'm hitting college, it's almost 2020. It's I started college in 2017, and by then I'm doing college on the internet.
Right.
And I started, and there's not even internet in the classroom. So that period of 06 to 2017.
The advancement is so short. And has there ever been a period of time where there's been so many advancements in so short of a time?
Definitely not communications.
Communications for sure. No, maybe from the television to the freezer.
Yeah.
To things, like that.
From 2000 to 2020, it's been really rapid.
Yeah.
And I wonder there's got to be a lot of new technology, too, that hasn't even hit consumer markets.
Oh, I'm sure there has to be. That's still being tested.
Or just for military use. Or, because anything that a government discovers is just going to take like 40 years before that technology hits
for sure.
the civilian populace.
Yeah.
They already have batteries and stuff that charge in like 30 seconds fully and last a week, but we just don't get them.
Yeah.
Those are only good for war. Not useful for anything else. It wouldn't save any... Duracells over there sweating. They're donating like $1 gajillion in the anti 30-second charging battery propaganda. Big batteries coming in like they'll give you cancer and sleep with your wife. Don't buy these batteries. Imagine buying like one set of batteries and it just lasted you for life.
Oh, that'd be fantastic. Yeah, there's no money to be made in that, so that's why.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't make a product someone buys.
No, for sure. That's the whole situation behind medicine and everything like that. There's no money to be made in that.
You sell them for $500,000 each.
Yeah.
You save up your whole
life. And then, of course,
life.
No one's, so if you told someone, okay, in your lifetime, you're going to spend $150,000 on batteries,
And then you said, or you could buy this one battery for $72,000
Yeah.
in 4 installments over the course of 20 years.
Yeah, and you'll never have to buy any batteries again.
Ever again. I'll give it to you now. You finance them. You just pay me back over the course of your whole life.
Yeah.
You finance. I mean,
you finance everything else.
It'd be cool if you could plug stuff into it. That'd be one thing.
Oh, for sure. Yes.
You know,
so
more like a
everything
generator type deal.
Yeah.
You know? Like plug it into like a section of your house and it's cutting your energy costs down. Some crazy stuff like that. That's one thing.
That would be.
But if it's like a AA, no. Maybe if it never died, like that'd be kind of cool. But even then, that's only if I'm rich. If I'm rich,
never die.
I wouldn't even use it.
Never
I just put it on a pedestal and be like, here's my battery that never dies. Not even in anything.
Yeah.
Not even in the TV remote. I still change those batteries. Don't have to. I'm just that rich.
Yeah. So switching gears a little bit, and then we're going to wrap this up. A little bit about marketing or just social media in general. We do, obviously that's part of what we do on our daily in between making signs or doing graphics. I mean, we have so many hats, doing videos, doing the podcast. Social media management is one opportunity or one field that we do a lot of.
Yeah. A lot of your downtime is spent getting on top of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Pretty much.
So, and we use some scheduling platforms. We'll use like Hootsuite or Sprout Social for analytics. And then we'll just, not for everybody. Sometimes we'll go through and then the day before, a couple days before, we'll sit and schedule that post. And we have a scheduling calendar that we deal with. But a couple funny thing, it's the way the human psyche works. So I spent 23 years in the restaurant business. And part of the business that we were in, to cut costs, we would do either our own maintenance or our own pressure washing. Even we didn't have pressure washers, we didn't pay. So much that when we had it installed in the restaurants, it was you just connect to the hose outside, turn the water on, you're ready to rock.
Yeah, we had one too. You just plink it in.
Loved it.
Yeah.
So, but where I'm going with that is, so if it was at Sonic Drive-In 23 years. So, and these have parking stalls. So if I have stall 1 through 3 marked off that I'm pressure washing. Someone's going to try to pull into one of those stalls.
Guaranteed.
There are no other stalls. All the other stalls are open. They're pulling into that stall. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But it's just a human
The
aspect.
second there's attention drawn instantly.
Yeah.
And I know exactly where you're going with this because this is something that I've been dealing with a lot.
For sure. So the way our company works is each of our team members are allocated or have certain clients that they handle the social media for. And Tony has a select few, and this is the first time he's really dealing with this. But it's a newer client of ours, and we come in typically – a couple reasons why we do social media for some clients, and not every reason is the same. But if they don't have the time, if they're running a business, there's a lot to do with that. I mean, you've got inventory, you've got employee, you've got staffing, and everybody's having staffing issues right now. You've got scheduling,
a lot of staffing
day-to-day
issues.
operations that you have to deal with, and the last thing you have time for is to post on social media.
Even if you just use it as a foundation, you could post on top of it, and we'll talk about that. You can have a harmonious existence with the people that manage your social media.
In which we do with certain clients. And what he means by that is that we have posting schedules, and then other folks within their organization will post as well. So we have a couple of criteria
because they're on
site. Yeah, exactly right. So they have
all the time.
Social,
if you're at a restaurant, they're always at the restaurant. If something cool happens, if someone pays for something, or there's
somebody's birthday, or whatever it is,
you're there. You're ready to go.
We try to recommend that you don't post within 2 to 3 hours of another post. A couple reasons behind that. Obviously, the algorithms change a little bit on Facebook. But what happens is that we have some clients will post, and if it's either scheduled or if it's on a whim.
A big part of this too is in these postings, you really quickly get a sense of how certain types of posts should perform generally. Right. If you're putting up a customer testimonial, it has a pretty spiffy looking graphic and it doesn't take too long to read, like it should get some pretty solid engagement relative to the amount of page likes you have.
Not a lot of effort to like that one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it doesn't take a lot of effort to absorb it, like it, hit it, scroll past, bright colors. Doesn't matter. You can tell when there's something shoveled right on top of that. It's the exact perfect analogy is if you wanted to leave out a note for somebody on a desk, on a nice big desk, and you're on this giant empty desk, perfect place to leave my note for this person. And then you put the note down and left, and as soon as you close the door, someone came in and wrote a million other notes and just threw them all on top.
Yeah,
it's
the
same exact
through.
thing. Yeah, exactly.
So just imagine, my Facebook feed is competing all those pages that I've liked, or even my fans, my family.
And it doesn't show you every
competing.
post.
No, they're all competing for your attention.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is the less engaging your posts are, the less likely they're going to see your stuff in the future. Facebook learns your
It learns
history.
what you liked. And people, not to say they don't understand, because it sounds a little condescending, but maybe people haven't looked into too much how stuff like this works, but it's a lot more in-depth than just whether you thumbs up it versus heart it versus dislike it, or I don't think you can dislike things on Facebook.
Just angry face.
But, oh yeah. But it's also how long you're even looking at it. It knows how long it's on your display.
Yeah, for sure.
So when you're making an engaging post, you can kind of balance that where even if they don't like it, if they're spending time really looking at it or watching the video, even if they don't engage with it, it's still going to bolster you a little bit.
Yeah.
All this to say your timeline isn't 100% in order, every post of everything you follow, every person you're friends with. Back when it was smaller, when it wouldn't overflow you, like on MySpace, you really only had your friends. Now, say you're in 12 Facebook groups, you have 15 pages liked, and on top of that, you have 257 friends.
Yep.
If it showed you every update and every post chronologically, and it didn't have some sort of weighting via algorithm, it would be useless.
Yeah.
It'd be useless. Your Honda group or your crockpot recipe group, it would be an hour of that of scrolling, and then you get like 42 advertisements from all the pages you follow.
All that to say, do not post your content back to back. Give it some time because you're competing with the post that you previously posted. And that same, so that's what we're getting at is some of the, and again, the human nature aspect of it.
They see it.
So we're paying SK to handle our social media, but then they feel like they need to just kind of jump on and throw something in there right after something that we have done.
The thing that's unfortunate, and the thing where I get the most of the aggravation from it is if it's not so much about the post underperforming. It's that I made a post. I crafted something for work, and you only get to use it once. It's like it's like a bullet. You fire it once. I just fired it, and it went 1 foot and hit a center block wall. And now I have to make something else. You make it. You're pulling it out of your brain. You have to sit there and think of things and make graphics. And so I spend some time on something. I'm like, oh well, I'll do a little higher effort. I won't just put an item from the shop or something. I'll put a customer testimony. I'll make a nice fancy graphic for it, put a nice caption on there, and I look and 3 minutes later they just shared something from someone else's Facebook page, and I'm just like, there it goes. There it goes.
Because we take pride in what we do, and there's nothing more enjoyable than seeing something that you crafted, even if you're writing the copy for it or whatever that is, and it does well. Then it's you feel justified for the services that you're offering our clients.
Yeah, when something gets even a little bit higher engagement than it's used to, because you'll get that notification like this post is performing better than than your other posts, and you'll look and you'll be like, oh, this you hit the sweet spot, you got the good time, you got a good content, the perfect storm brewed, and it gets like 50% more engagement.
Right.
You still get a dopamine hit, even though it's not, even though that's I don't even know, like an excerpt from the about that I made a graphic of and posted as a fun fact.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, for sure.
It has nothing to do with me. And yet I'm still just like, yeah, because your brain's just like, bzzz.
And that, and people get that. So thinking about that, so that takes effort. So if we switch gears over to TikTok, there's a lot more time and energy invested in that creation standpoint because a lot of these
Some
guys
people
are doing
spend
tremendous amount of times,
hours,
and then others will do something stupid, and it's the most viral thing they've ever had.
You have such a range on there from filming just your cat or your husband, from doing a couple of cuts or no cuts, a tutorial on how to make iced coffee where what peeves me so much. I could talk about I could talk about anything all day. I'm a bitter old man already. When I watch a TikTok and they're doing like a coffee tutorial, and everybody has an iPhone, man. Everybody has an iPhone. Like 75% of people have an iPhone. It comes with iMovie. It comes with iMovie. It's the most basic editing software of all time. And they're making their iced coffee. I don't know if I can do this in 60 seconds. And they're all splashing all their ingredients everywhere. And I'm just like, you don't have to. You could record a 2-minute video of you making the coffee and then just cut out like some movement.
Yeah. We did a ribbon cutting for the city in a new business downtown Beaufort. Same thing. So we recorded live the ribbon cutting itself. And then went inside, took some footage, and then literally pieced it together in a minute and a half.
In iMovie on-site.
iMovie on-site, had music playing, and it was posted right then.
Yeah,
so
we had B-roll, voiceover,
Yep.
And pre-recorded video footage, edited and uploaded with background music within 10 minutes of the event happening on-site.
So it's just knowing the equipment
that doesn't happen. People don't. People don't deliver that product.
They don't.
We're just insane. We can't not do full effort. Like we're here like
I think
we'll be somewhere like we're just here to be nice. Let's put in as much effort as possible.
I think the setup here explains it all. We're doing a podcast, but I'm so more focused. For me, the video aspect.
It's about I mean, anything you have your name on, you just want it to be good.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it. I'm not one of those people like the people Alexis works with at Walmart. You know, they'll get a job and their immediate thought is like, what's the maximum amount of time I could stretch it to be reasonable for me to unload this on this shelf?
Yeah.
They see like 30 cans and they're like, oh, if I spend 5 seconds per can, that's however many minutes of only this task.
Yeah.
Not for me.
Yeah.
If I have a predetermined list of tasks I need to get done, I'm getting them done as fast and well done as possible so I don't have to stress about it. And you don't have to make yourself work more than you have to work.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's working smarter than versus working harder.
If you could do the same thing and the same level of quality in 6 hours, why stretch it to 8 by sitting around and just
lollygagging?
Every second, the seconds add up. I try to think about that when I'm thinking like, oh, you don't have to do everything super fast, but if you waste 30 seconds like 9 times in one day, that's like what, 5 minutes of nothing?
Time wasting too. We've dealt with some issues and some clients and some situations to where we're sitting around 20, 30 minutes because somebody late, somebody forgot something. And then we schedule our week. I schedule the week in advance for the week coming up, and everything's kind of locked in.
We tend to lock in like 7 days in a 2-day span. Usually it's Wednesday or Thursday or Friday the week before, and people call and go, oh my gosh, this thing I've known about for 7 years, I have 1 week to get it done. Can you get me in as soon as possible? And we just start blocking in ASAP, and then people, they cancel and they're like, can we reschedule? And we're like, in a week. And it's just this recurring cycle.
It is. Yeah. And the amount of phone calls that we get is if we're sitting at desks just waiting.
Emails and phone calls.
Just as if we're just sitting waiting for them. And unfortunately, we're not. Sometimes we're on a ladder installing something. We're drilling in the concrete.
Oh, yeah.
We're sticking vinyl. We're filming.
Average day is like 75 emails, 20 calls, and 20 texts.
Yeah.
And that's like a regular day of people just reaching out and being like, I got your name from so-and-so, or we did this, we did this last year, and we need to do this now.
Yeah.
And then, that's not even counting when there's a current job. That's a pretty big job, and there's a lot of phone correspondence.
And I've dealt with, so before you came on, I had a phone service to where they would take the phone call, and I would get a text message and an email from that person. But, we're having a great day at SK. How may I help you? But in this business, it's so personable.
They don't want automate. They're not looking for people to be like, "Hi, I'm SK here," and they don't want, they want
Is Sean there.
Sean, yeah exactly.
Is
Sean,
yeah, he knows this, he knows that.
It's a person.
It doesn't work.
Yeah,
so we have to, we man the phones, 7 days a week.
Yeah,
and 8 o'clock at night. We have clients in Texas.
People would not. I don't know. Not to toot our own horn too much. This is an SK production, but we have a good reputation. I feel like people like to see us. People like to sit and conversate, even though our time's worth a lot of money.
I think
we got places to be, and we're just leaning in because people just love to talk.
When I was with David Felver at Felver Design and Asher Sign and a couple other businesses he had, one thing I noticed. So I left Sonic in 2014. Tremendous pay cut, and figured I would start SK from the ground up. So we were working on that. As we built our client base, I worked with David at Felver Design, and one thing I noticed was his personal interaction with folks. And though he was working and people would stop by all the time and, shoot the breeze, talk to him 20 minutes, he would give them their undivided attention. Yeah,
because it's more like, oh, that's my friend who also has the capability of making a banner, and he's an accessible resource who I'm comfortable with. So even though it's local and I could get a banner for 17 cents on the internet or anything on the internet, and if push came to shove, you can furnish your entire house and every belonging you want off the internet.
Yeah,
off Amazon alone.
Buying local helps so much. But even so, talking to folks and having that engagement with them is tremendous. And you've noticed. So if I went, I was at the visitor center. Filming for the Harriet Tubman unveil. Colleen, Tony's off today? Or no, Tony? Yeah, Tony's off today. He's moving into a new apartment. So it's as to just say Tony's off. I mean, there's a backstory to why you're off.
Yeah.
You're moving into a new apartment, so you're getting everything ready to go. And I'm sure when I'm not there sometimes.
Always. Oh, no Sean today? Yeah. Oh, running solo? Oh, you guys busy? That's what it always is.
Yeah.
You guys busy?
Yeah.
I'm like, 90% of the time we're alone, it is because the other person's tied up. It's not too often that it's just like my day off and you're running around, and your day off and I'm running around. It's like if someone has to man something or there's something, we can kind of work around our personal lives a little bit. Like if you have something big going on at home, I can kind of go do stuff. But most of the time, we're both going, and you're at a meeting and I'm recording, or I'm at a meeting and you're recording, or I'm installing and you're filming.
Or we're double booked, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We've got
triple booked. We've been triple booked.
We have been
start a Zoom before we do a meeting for a live stream while we're on the, it's insane.
We started Zooms on the road, hotspotting off our laptop.
Yeah, hotspot a laptop. Seat. You're driving through the middle of nowhere, like through the swamp on a Zoom, facilitating a Zoom call.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah,
it's wild. We have it's almost like it's not a niche, because we fill so many. We fill so many niches.
So many voids.
Yeah.
If SK dropped off the face of the earth,
Beaufort would just be like,
yeah.
Not everyone, but it feels like everyone, because both municipalities is huge.
Oh, yeah,
huge,
it's tremendous.
Both municipalities,
yeah.
And the Chamber of Commerce, huge. The visitor center.
Yeah, both actually in Edisto as well. We're going to be doing a tourism video with Edisto, kind of a first-person view standpoint. So we'll be getting some GoPros with that,
and what's left in Beaufort, pull wise, that you don't work for. Not so you do a lot of stuff for the city, but you do stuff for the
real estate
economic.
Agents.
Yeah, so real estate.
I don't touch real
but
estate.
like even if you don't constantly do work for them, we still help with the economic development corporation.
For sure.
We do stuff for them.
Yeah, we do. Yeah,
we do stuff with. We meet and facilitate with people everywhere. So you're at least in the brain of everybody.
No, for sure. When I know quite a bit of real estate agents, and even with the Beaufort Jasper Realtor
tons of nonprofits. Kappa, Friends Cypress Wetlands.
Yeah, we're gonna be doing the butterfly release for Friends of Caroline, and then a video with them, and then we do the Kappa, the signage, and we do the Dancing with Our Stars video production. The colleges, both were heavily invested in TCL.
Yeah, a lot of TCL work.
The graduation for them. And
it's a perfect sized town because it's not too small that there's no work and never anything going on.
Right.
But it's not too big that word of mouth has no power.
Word of mouth is huge.
Yeah, it's like that perfect sweet spot where it's small enough that everyone knows each other. The social circles overlap enough, and there's people that have pull weight.
Yeah.
If you go to somewhere like Bakersfield and that's 500,000, almost 400,000 people, there's no guy.
Yeah.
There's nobody where it's like, oh, if he says this, that's the thing. No, that doesn't exist. There's way too many people for anyone to be on the same page.
Right, for sure.
There's no Dick Stewart. There's no anything like that in Bakersfield. Like, your 100 people. Yeah. Because you can only know like 100 people.
Right.
And then there's 400,000 other people that are complete and total strangers.
They all have their own little 100 people that they know.
I mean, the amount of mutual people is so minimal because it's such a big network that that you hear everyone knows everybody who knows everybody.
And that's the benefit of living in a small town. There's no greater feeling than going to a gas station, seeing your friend. Hey, holler at her. You're in the grocery store. You walk by. Hey, how you doing? I need to come see you, man. I need to get this done. I've been meaning to come see you.
I've only lived here a year,
a year.
Not even a year, less than a year, and I could probably tangentially know anybody. I could go to Walmart and be like, this guy.
6 degrees of.
I could just go through the list.
SK.
Yeah, exactly, because everybody that we know also knows people.
Mm-hmm.
So you just have to be like, this person. I could be like, oh, Stephen Murray,
Mayor Stephen Murray.
Oh, they'll be like, oh, that's an instant win.
Yeah.
I know somebody.
So each week, I think we're going to start getting a little bit more marketing conversation. If it's something that we have had happen the week prior, or that we make a note on that we think is relevant. And as with any podcast, I think honing in our topic of conversation and trying to get more to a regular base of, if it's movies, if it's music, and then marketing.
Movies, shop talk, and marketing.
You know what I mean? Whatever that is, that way we can try to get our audience locked in and get them in for the topic and stay for the conversation. Hopefully our personalities are coming off, and you guys can know who we are as individuals and from a business standpoint. So
yeah, all you need to know about me is if you're leading in with the "do you have an opinion on" as the beginning of your question. The answer is yes, and a strong one.
What is the most obscure knowledge? Let me see how to word this. Trivia. So what's the most obscure trivia that you know?
Man, okay.
What would be the weirdest thing that nobody else It's not relevant to your daily life.
Let me think.
Obviously,
There's so much. I mean,
was,
there's got to be something decent. So I used to have a good amount of specific, just kind of like fun fact knowledge. Like I used to know the distance the Earth would move if one individual jumped, and it's like a certain like gajillionth of an inch to a decimal point. Like they calculated it, and I could just be like, oh yeah. I don't remember that off the top of my head these days. Gosh, it's such a good question, but without time beforehand to like trove through your whole life and think about all the stuff you know. That's every file.
Yeah, for sure.
You gotta trove through all knowledge in the brain to try to think of something obscure like that. Can you think of one? Anything?
No, and again, it's the reason I ask you that because I know you have.
I mean, I know a
ton of stuff
behind. I mean, there's a ton of like movie props. I know a ton of stuff about movie props, like where they are and what condition they are. I love looking at movie props, learning about movie props, how they made them, what they made stuff out of. Like the original Luke Skywalker's lightsaber from the 1977 Star Wars movie was a flash bulb handle.
Oh, was it?
From like 1960 something, which, you know, thinking about something from the 1960s now, that's vintage. But reusing something for a movie in 1977 from the 60s would be like me finding a Walkman from 2005 and being like, I'll put this in my film.
Or even an iPod.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it wasn't even vintage. They were just like, flash bulb handle. They weren't like, this old archaic bulb handle will be perfect. So I think about stuff like that sometimes. But yeah, they took that, glued some components out of a specific like radio onto it, and that's it. Yeah. So you can make a screen accurate Luke Skywalker lightsaber if you buy that flash bulb kit off and eBay, and then the specific things they pulled the components off of, and you can make it yourself for like $50. Yeah, and it's like $1,000 for a screen accurate replica. For sure, that's actually made of metal and stuff. So that's pretty cool.
I don't think I have anything that's just out of my head that I can think of. That's again so many years of. Yeah, it's tough.
I
would say it's pointless information, but it was relevant at the time, and then where I was in my life.
I know that polar bears are one of the only animals, I think the only animals, that look at a person and see prey. When they look at a human being, they think, I'm going to eat that human. Not like, that kind of looks like a seal. They register us as actual prey. Yeah. And we don't really have any natural predators. We tend to get killed because something's scared of us because we're a weird hairless ape going,
right, for sure.
Like there's not much of us running around. So when they see us, they're just like, whoa. We're not like the main diet of anything. Yeah, nothing survives off of human, which is a really good position to be in, if you ask me. And we're kind of lucky because you look at dogs and you think they got a pretty good deal, but not really because only so many are domesticated. So lucked out that way. You could have as easily been a worm, but you're sitting here just like with the internet and stuff,
thankful.
Sitting in a chair with a
crappy internet
golf cap on, not like a like a beetle or something.
So appreciate everybody tuning in. If you're watching on YouTube, we appreciate it. If you're listening to the podcast, we appreciate that too. Jump over to YouTube if you want to see what the studio looks like now and some of the work that we've done.
The studio, it's definitely not a sign shop. It's a studio. It's only used for filming exclusively.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, everybody.